In this video, we will have a featured gameplay and analyze all the good and bad decisions made in the game and what could have been done better. With that being said, I give my shout out to NickyBros. Thank you for sending this gameplay. Great job playing as Dyrroth. You're awesome. Also, if you want to improve how you play on any lane and role, we suggest watching the following videos. The links are on the description. Nicky decided to take the orange buff first, which was definitely a good idea since the Litho Wanderer in that game spawned closer to it. Remember to try and take the Litho Wanderer as much as you can, since it not only gives you gold and experience advantage, it also provides bonus movement speed when your hero travels through the river. This is the issue with Nicky's team lineup. Just to be clear, we are not saying it's a bad lineup, we just want to point out some of its disadvantages. As you can see, they did not have a tank at all. Unlike the opposing team, which did not just have one, but two tanks. Having at least one tank can give the team advantage during the first several minutes of the game because of their ability to zone out enemies and also take damage for their allies. Unlike lineups that rely on pure supports like Angela, tanks are more capable in helping the jungler take objectives. The issue with having pure supports as roamers is that most of them are extremely squishy during the early game, especially during the first 3 minutes of the game. Not only are they not as capable as tanks in zoning, they are also easy targets for a lot of other heroes. And again, we are not saying this is bad, it's just that it is more challenging to play a game without a tank. When the roamer is a pure support, we suggest having a tankier jungler with decent damage output. Nicky failed to take the Litho Wanderer and he was low on HP, so retreating was a good idea. The good thing Nicky did is he did not retreat completely and instead continued jungling. He did not risk Dyrroth dying meaninglessly in that clash and also did not waste any time wandering around. Remember, as a jungler, you must always be efficient in jungling and try your best to outfarm the opposing team. The earlier you get your key items and the faster you level up, the better. Not a good start for their team, but there is still hope. Remember earlier when I said that the opposing team had advantage since they had two tanks? Well, that also has a disadvantage. One disadvantage is they lack the sufficient firepower to dominate the mid and late game. As soon as Nicky gets sufficient items, it will be much easier for their team to win, that is of course, if his allies do not feed the enemy and prevent themselves from losing prematurely. As you can see, the opposing team was swarming on the bottom lane, and that is because they were preparing to secure the turtle. Nicky's team should have done the same, especially since Claude was tower hugging. It was pointless extending their stay there.
Why don't you just surrender?
Nicky did the right thing not forcing himself into taking the turtle. While it's always cool stealing a major objective from the opposing team, but usually that's a risk that can cost you the game. Instead of forcing it, just try to farm as much as you can. In doing so, you prevent yourself from dying, while earning a significant amount of gold and experience for your hero, which can help you win the game back, or flip the next clashes in your favor. And of course, if there is an opportunity to kill, drop what you're doing in the jungle and take that kill. While it's true that Nicky died, it was not completely in vain. He was able to help take two enemy heroes down and gain a significant amount of gold and experience in the process. This is a very wise move by Nicky, because he had excellent map awareness. He knew Uranus was on the bottom lane, while Khufra and Claude were both on the top lane clearing out their minions. Since he knew the locations of those three heroes, it was very easy for him to realize that Harley and Xavier did not have any other allies around them, and since they were both easy targets for Dyrroth, Nicky decided to engage and try to take a kill before continuing with the turtle.
recognize someone as weak as you.
As you just saw, Uranus melted like butter against Dyrroth. And since Uranus was gone, the pressure on the turtle was significantly decreased, so Nicky took that chance and started securing the turtle. Nicky did the right thing of clearing the enemy minions on the top lane. Remember guys, if you are not at a risk of getting ganked, try to clear nearby minions, or when your lane nearby has a minion wave disadvantage. Instead of focusing on Uranus, one of them should have cleared the enemy minions on the bottom lane first. Remember guys, kills are not everything. Kills are useless if you lose your structures. Always make sure that your kills count. Kill enemies in order to decrease pressure from your objectives, and never ever trade your structures just for one insignificant kill. I find it funny that Uranus was clueless on how much advantage Dyrroth has against him. If you're a Uranus player and you see a performing Dyrroth player, just avoid him if you're alone. Dyrroth will win a duel against Uranus 9 times out of 10. The enemies might have taken the Lord, but Nicky was able to take something more important, and that's one of the enemy team's turrets. In our opinion, the ideal move here would be to clear the bottom lane turrets since it was close by, and doing so will also give them the chance of destroying the bottom inner turret.
I will do anything for the abyss.
This was a bad decision due to several reasons. Claude and Uranus were just behind Dyrroth. In addition to that, Xavier was well within the enemy inner turret's range. Trying to kill Xavier was a bad choice, especially since Kufra and Harley were both missing. There are multiple ways this can go wrong. 1. Kufra jumps towards Dyrroth and prevents him from dashing, therefore keeping him within the turret's range. 2. Harley could jump right at him and get comboed, thus ending his kill streak. 3. Xavier uses Flicker, then uses his second skill to prevent Dyrroth from getting away from the turret. And 4. The most unlikely, but still a possibility, is where Uranus and Claude decide to corner him and take him down. Basically, the odds of Dyrroth winning that clash was 0. Unless you can think of something straight out of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure universe, the odds were all against Dyrroth in that situation. That does not make Nicky a bad player though. No matter how good you are, and even if you are an international pro player, mistakes might be made. Sometimes, what defines a great player is how they overcome such sticky situations by making more great plays to make up for their misses. Before we forget, this was the emblem configuration Nicky used in that game. The Assassin emblem and Rupture, in our opinion, should always be equipped together in order to maximize their benefits. Both of these allow Dyrroth to turn into a powerful killing machine capable of defeating both squishy and tanky heroes. For his second standard talent, he chose High and Dry in order to further pump up his damage against solo targets. In our opinion, if you will play Dyrroth with mostly damage items, it would be better to have the Weapon Master instead. Unlike High and Dry, it works regardless of how many enemies are around you. While we agree that High and Dry deals greater damage, it only works when dueling against one enemy. As for the core talent, Nicky chose Lethal Ignition, which helped him take enemies down faster, especially since it works so well on Dyrroth's skill set that allows him to deal multiple stages of damage within a short period of time. Remember though, the new emblem system is complex in a sense that different combinations can work. It all boils down on your playstyle and what configuration you are comfortable in. Whether that's focused on spell vamp, survivability, or damage, it will work as long as it suits your playstyle. As for the items, he chose tough boots for some magic defense and to also decrease the impact of control effects on Dyrroth. Blade of Heptases for its bonus physical damage penetration and of course unique passive that allows the hero's first strike to deal very high damage. Sea Halberd was a good choice in that game in order to pump up Dyrroth's damage further and at the same time inflict life drain on his targets. That item works so well against tanky heroes like Uranus. Endless Battle is another item that greatly suits Dyrroth since he relies on both basic attacks and skill casts to deal damage. He also has very low skill cooldown times, which means he can access the item's unique passive more frequently. The bonus cooldown reduction is good as well for Dyrroth, and of course the hybrid lifesteal, which further improves his already great HP sustain. And finally, Demon Hunter Sword, which is another tank buster item. Its damage scales based on how high the target's current HP is. The greater the current HP, the greater the damage it inflicts. As for his final item, we think he was about to build Blade of Despair. Blade of Despair is an item that greatly benefits Dyrroth because of the tremendous damage it provides the user. Overall, Nicky's build was good. But of course it has disadvantages. It is an advanced build because you have to be extra careful with your decisions. Keep in mind that with such build, Dyrroth will be very squishy, so you should never recklessly dive in. With such build, you should have an assassin mentality and try to focus on targets that are distant from their allies, or take advantage of situations when a lot of the enemies are distracted, therefore allowing you to take them down one hero at a time. It's an amazing build for dueling and can help Dyrroth destroy most heroes, but is more challenging to handle during team fights against multiple enemies. Nicky pushing the top lane was an excellent idea. Since the Lord respawned closer to the bottom lane, putting pressure on the opposite lane can encourage some of the enemies to focus more on defending that, thus loosening the pressure around the lower portion of the map. If they can push the bottom lane in a turret, it would even be better. Dyrroth might have died, but it wasn't a useless death. Since he eliminated Harley, Moskov had the chance to split push. That concludes our Mobile Legends content for today. Did we miss any other recommendations applicable in that game? Leave your thoughts on the comment section below, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe everyone. Peace.